Hello there and welcome back to War Thunder. I hope you liked that intro, I certainly did. Today we are having a look at not just a realistic battle, which has been quite a while to be honest, but also a German fighter, the Bf-109 F4. And to make it short, I think this is the first of the bad Bf-109s, but the last of the good ones. So there is a lot of overlay, there are a lot of good aspects, and there are some bad aspects. Now, to point out a bad aspect of a plane or a tank does not automatically mean it's unusable, but you just have to name the drawback that a plane and a tank has. Every single tank, every single plane has some drawback. It is interesting to know which one and how to fight against that if you are the pilot or the commander of that plane or tank, and also how to abuse that. So to maximize your strength and to minimize your weaknesses. I think this is a very common theme in warfare, and in actually learning how to play a game. Now, I'm very well known in parts of the community or my subscriber base for having a rather toxic opinion about Bf-109s and Focke-Wulfs in particular. So, in short, the German prop fighters. Now, that's not true for every single version of them. However, I think I have to clarify it here. And as background footage, I have here a very nice ace match for you versus the Americans and the British with some nice looking kills. But if you analyze actually the kills, if you look really how the enemy behaved and what I did, you very much come then to the simple conclusion, well, you had luck. Well, it was so easy. I could do this as well. There is no skill. Why are you showing this? You're a noob. Learn to play. All the very nice bullcrap that parts of the or that the toxic part of the community brings up. The elitists. Idiots that I don't give anything about. But let's just analyze the tech trees. Well, I think that the Focke-Wulfs are throughout the tech trees, tiers and battle ratings not very good. The one plane that I once loved was the Focke-Wulf A1, where I really felt that I have certain advantages over the opposition in certain circumstances, and it is really down to knowledge, skill and discipline to get into the situation and not throw it away. So already we have here a point. Discipline. Not throwing away your advantages and, using your advantages in the first place. Also knowing your plane. And I think German planes offer no real advantages to its counterparts in a direct confrontation. And I talked to many experienced players, also to players that actually criticize me, and then they straightened out in a direct conversation that we had on TeamSpeak or Discord. I'm not naming them here to not lose their, well, I don't want to say trust, but that they, in time talk to me again if I want to have a conversation with them. Just if I disagree with somebody doesn't automatically mean I hate somebody. That's just nonsense. But I stand by my points. And I still stand by my points exactly because of the thing that you see in this battle. Please look at how I get the kills and what the enemy is actually doing and how my plane is behaving. So when I talked to those experienced players, they actually straightened out and said, well, the planes have no advantages compared to the opposition. But with team play, you can make it work. And then I asked a very simple question, well, what is, the enemy preventing from doing the same? The answer was nothing. Beautiful kill. If you get a kill like this, it's just so sweet. It's just Next kill is very obvious. So I think when we talk about also why German teams win so often, I played 7 battles just today and I just lost 1 of them, then we very much come to the conclusion German aircraft can't be bad. Well, they are bad, but they are not useless, and I think another perfect example is this P-51. He has the altitude advantage, he had the positioning advantage, and look how beautiful he handles his aircraft. My god, I'm such a good pilot. I'm the best pilot that is out there because I harvest enemies flying in a straight line. Please worship me. I'm a god of war. I'm a god of war. I know always what I'm talking about. Giving the right impression for an aircraft to everybody that is out there. Okay. First of all, let me know in the comment section if you realized what I'm talking about and if you understood the reference. Next up, P-38. He just killed a Bv-238. Good job. Bv-238s are hard nuts to crack, except if you know what you have to do, and then they are not that bad. And I cannot finish this guy because the plane is not handling as I want, and I think the most outrageous point that I have to criticize about Bf-109s and Focke-Wulfs is the complete bullshit, nonsense rudder lockup. And I had to follow him, I had to secure the kill, and I had to drop a lot of altitude. And while I didn't rip my wings, look at this, 8G maximum in the best tight turning, 9Gs for a very short time, and my well-trained pilot is already knocking out Japanese, Russian, and also British pilots with the same crew level. I don't feel really like they do the same. Again, let me know in the comment section if you think this is the same experience with you or that you have. But back to why German planes, or German teams rather, win so often. Well, let's summarize it. German teams are disciplined, the majority of them are fighters, and they actually climb, they single out the enemy, and they work together. Very good. What do the Allies do? Exactly the opposite. They are lazy, most of them don't climb, most of them don't do teamwork, and they just go in at low altitude, harvesting unimportant ground units that give them no real, silver lines and experience. They do not really carry over to winning the game. They very often crash, they very often go into fighters and bombers. In the first place, they are easy to harvest, and that's the thing. So when you purely look at the KD ratio or the KD KB ratio or the win rate of the teams, it is very much deceiving from the reality, because in a fair fight with equal distribution of fighters and bombers throughout the teams, it might look a little bit different. And if you sit the very same pilots into both teams, where they actually would use their advantages, like a P-47, which has actually too many, too low battle rating, too good of an armament, air start, high altitude performance, ruggedness of the aircraft. I could go on here for hours. I've played the machine myself throughout the nations that have them quite a bit. I know what I'm talking about, at least I think I do. I'm not saying that I'm the best pilot out there, but if one aircraft I just get in and it flies smooth and does exactly what I want it to do in terms of boom and zoom, energy fight, climbing, firepower, and the other one doesn't, but they both sit at the same battle rating and they are sitting at two different nations, well, what would your conclusion be? Let me know. Because I'm talking here not, using here the stat card. I do not do really the same with planes as I do it for tanks, because tanks have a very different meta, regardless of tank RB or tank arcade or simulator, than aircraft. They are in a different fighting environment. And so I think planes have much more variations to it, many more factors, in fact, that you could point out. How fast does the engine overheat? How much ammunition do you have for how many machine guns or machine cannons? How rugged is your aircraft? How good is your team distribution? How well does the plane climb? Energy retention, capabilities in turn fight, scissoring, energy fight, boom and zoom, whatever you think about. So that would be quite a challenge to put it into stat cards. So the few plane reviews that I did are quite a bit different to the tank reviews. So now I'm nearly out of ammunition. I go back to base, and then I turn back once I start from the airfield. So what I did there was quite easy. I landed, I repaired, and I equipped my plane with a bomb, a 250 kilogram bomb, to potentially drop it on the last enemy fighter that sits currently on the airfield and looked like he doesn't want to come out to play. So another factor is when you compare it to a Spitfire. Spitfires are very good planes. They are fun to fly, they are smooth to fly, they don't have this random rudder lock-ups. They just have a much smoother flight model and quite a strange damage model, as you will see with the last kill. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry. However, they offer you so many advantages that you become a lone wolf, that you become greedy, that you go into situations that are difficult to handle for any plane, that you pick fights that you, well, in other aircraft wouldn't think about picking in the first place. And many players, when they actually climb with allied aircraft, then do the one thing that I actually don't understand when they are on the same energy level as a Focke-Wulf or Bf-109. They very often just waste their plane in the first head-on that they can get. And even if you trade, remember the argumentation before, then the trade is better for the Germans because an enemy fighter is out. And harvesting bombers, harvesting attackers, just not think about this battle and how it looked in the beginning when there were already 5, 6, 7 planes on the ground and going for artillery and flak positions. Think about Norway. Think about when you last flew the D-13. For me it's quite a while ago, and I actually have nice stats in this plane, a KD of 3 and win ratio of 70%, something like this. I actually don't know, I'm too lazy to look it up. But the truth is, the plane is actually pretty crap. It's really, really bad. I'm not saying in the firepower department, I'm not saying that it looks bad, but the actual handling in a fighter versus fighter engagement is pretty bad. However, the enemy team constantly gifts you the kills, as you saw in this battle. I could have done the same in a German P-47, probably even better. I could have done the very same in a Spitfire, probably better. A Typhoon, probably better. A Japanese plane, a Russian plane, probably better. Italian aircraft, probably better, if my engine wouldn't have burned down immediately after the start, because Italian overheat is just ridiculous. Again, I'm not ranting, I'm just stating here my point of view, my experience. And on Norway, again, think about it. What is the first thing that you usually see on my videos when I start as a German plane? I go to the left, to the bombing points, because there are the bombers, and the bombers are separated from the fighters. So the bombers are easy to pick apart most of the time in head-ons or in diving attacks, where German planes are actually built for, and they very often don't know how to do evasive actions, how to use their gunners, and no allied fighter has ever been seen to escort them. Well, that's a bit exaggerating. Sometimes I have seen them, but I've just seen them as free kills because they did stupid stuff, like going into a head-on, wasting their plane again. The arguments repeat themselves. There are so many interactions. So you harvest the bombers, then you have the actual player advantage. The German teams by default from the very start has more fighters, and the enemy fighters are on low altitude, going into turn fights immediately, going into head-ons, harvesting unimportant ground unit kills. What I have told you in the beginning. And this might look like German planes are good. They have good kill-to-death ratios. They have good KD-KB ratios. They have high win rates. But this is down to the Allied planes misplaying. And then the Allied planes' firepower increases, game mechanic changes, and their battle rating drops on and on and on. And look at this. One turn that I have to do, I'm here in a lockup phase, and then I do the one smooth turn at high speeds, but I lose so much speed, I lose so much potential energy, and I'm just here ripping off the wing from the Spitfire, but I still have to continue fire up until I hit the cockpit and make the plane go boom. Otherwise it would have been another kill assist. So here I got my ace, I got my 5 kills, I had an awesome battle, the results are awesome, but skill? was not really involved. That was just harvesting. And this is the experience that I have throughout the matches that I play. The enemy teams gift you the kills, and I've not played against a single Russian team because their players are a bit smarter than Allied pilots or British American players, because America doesn't automatically gift you a win. So I think I hope I gave you the nice impressions and the idea what I'm talking about. But I want to further summarize it after we had a look at the results. 75,000 civil lines, of which 10% go to the survivor medal. I got it in an aircraft, how exciting. And 5,000 research points, being first in team for 5 aircraft kills, 5 vehicle kills and 1 kill assist, nearly 5,000 score points, a lot of awards, and yeah, the result was pretty good. But again, was that looking difficult? Holding my altitude, prioritizing the targets, picking the fights, and the enemy not making any sort of evasive actions? I don't know. For me, in a normal fight, you have to fight the rudder lockup, you have to fight the overheating engines, you have to fight the sparks, you have to fight the enemy players like you have to fight your own plane. I dislike not every single Focke-Wulf or Bf-109. I loved the A1 of the Focke-Wulf series, I loved the A, B and E series of Bf-109s, and even the F1 and F2s are nice planes. But the F4 is the first of the bad planes and the last of the good planes. Because in a direct comparison, piloted by equally skilled persons, pilots, this plane would lose against anything else. So that's finally it for me. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to write a comment down in the comment section about your thoughts and how you play the Bf-109s, how you engage the enemies. Have you a different experience, a different point of view? Keep it civilized as usual. I want to have a proper discussion. I read all the comments, and as always, give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the battlefields and in the skies of War Thunder.